Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another 2024 presidential election prediction. My guess is that if anybody actually watches this, it'll be a war zone in the comments. But today, I have YouTuber Let's Talk Elections and former Congressman and senatorial candidate Beto O'Rourke, senatorial and presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke, versus Red Eagle Politics, another election YouTuber, and Josh Hawley. Sorry, that intro was a mess. Now, Let's Talk Elections has been criticized by many to be left-leaning. His channel doesn't directly support the Democratic Party, so this is more of an assumption on my part. If you view this, I'm sorry. Let's Talk Elections. Red Eagle Politics is openly very conservative, a pro-Trump, pro-America First type, which is why I had Josh Hawley as his running mate. I have Beto O'Rourke as LTE's running mate for basically name recognition and coming from a swing state in Texas. But without further ado, let's get into this. Now, of course, there's a lot of safe states that, of course, we need to get through. This is always the most boring part of my videos because the safe states rarely change. I think Josh Hawley, I don't think really helps that much from a demographic electoral standpoint. Maybe he helps in Missouri a little. Maybe. He won his Senate race by about 5-6 points. Of course, he unseated an incumbent, but of course you can make the counter argument that Missouri was already red-leaning to begin with. So those are the safe states. In South Carolina, I always forget. Iowa is pretty much a safe state. All right, let's get into this. Now, I think Florida is definitely going to be lean to Red Eagle just because of the margins that voted for President Trump in both 2016 and 2020, in addition to it now being his home state. Of course, Red Eagle Politics is very much a supporter of Ron DeSantis, even though he is not from Florida himself, sees him as somewhat of a potential successor to President Trump if he decides not to run in this election. So that's why Florida is lean. Alaska, I think, is trending somewhat more Democratic, though I think it'll still remain a Republican hold for the next few election cycles. President Biden actually won Anchorage, the first Democrat to do that in decades. But that's something I'll also get into in probably a future video. Texas, I think, despite Beto O'Rourke being from the state and well known in the state, I think by a lean margin, the GOP, Red Eagle, holds on here. It'll be competitive. I think that the Let's Talk Elections campaign will definitely funnel some money into the state. The state is certainly reachable in the future, maybe not in this election, but 2028 and beyond, I believe, certainly. Georgia, I think, also goes to Red Eagle. He'll do better in the suburbs here. Restrictive voting laws that I'm not going to get into, but he'll do better here. Arizona, it's actually, I think, going to vote differently from Georgia this time. I know, shocking, but remember, both states have 2 Democratic senators. But Arizona, I think, is maybe more moderate as opposed to Georgia being more polarized, if that makes any sense. What I basically mean is Kyrsten Sinema and Mark Kelly in Arizona are sort of purple center-left, if not center-right, Democrats, whereas Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff are rather liberal. So that's why I have Arizona here. And again, I don't think that this America First crew will do well, in Arizona, which has, a history of conservative, well-known conservative candidates. Barry Goldwater ran here in 1960. Barry Goldwater ran for president in 1964, and his direct successor in the Senate, John McCain, was also a presidential nominee at one point in 2008. So I think that sort of traditional conservative mentality is going to remain here, and they'll be against Red Eagle and Josh Hawley's America First Trump-like attitude, whereas Georgia, I think, will be competitive, but I think, especially with with their voting laws, it'll be captured by the GOP. Nevada is also lean. A lot of California residents coming here. The last time it was won by the GOP in a presidential race was 2004. But as of right now, the state has a Democratic governor, Democratic state legislature, 2 Democratic senators, and of course has been carried by the Democratic Party in each of the last 4 elections. So Nevada remains in the Democratic column. North Carolina was won by President Trump, and I see Red Eagle carrying the state as well. Remember, suburbs have basically fled from President Trump, but I think this is a potential future Democratic pickup too, with some Democrats from the North moving here and taking their politics with them. But I think for now it does stay in the GOP column. It's pretty inelastic, won by Republicans by about the same margin each time. But I could go on and on about this, but I won't. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Actually, I'm going to put Michigan as tilt and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin as lean. Red Eagle, I believe, hails from the state of Michigan. I could be wrong about that. If I am, sorry if you do end up watching this. But he definitely has that Trump-like Rust Belt appeal, unlike Let's Talk Elections, who is a Maryland native, liberal. Hillary Clinton came from New York. Obviously she wasn't initially from New York. She grew up in Chicago and moved to Arkansas, then New York, but that's besides the point. A lot of anti-East Coast liberalism sentiment here. And I think Red Eagle carries these states. Minnesota remains a lean Democrat, as it has in the past couple of election cycles. Ohio, didn't mean to do that. Ohio and Iowa are likely for the Republican Party. Won't hit that 15-point margin, but I think are pretty solid pickups at this point. Red Eagle easily carries Nebraska 1st and 3rd districts, but I think he will end up carrying the 2nd district by a lean margin, similar to President Trump in 2016. And that leaves us with New Hampshire and Maine. Maine at large and Maine District 1 are pretty solid Democratic strongholds, but Red Eagle continues much as Trump did and captures this 1 electoral vote in Maine District 2. As for New Hampshire, tilt Democrat. Hillary Clinton won it by about a few thousand votes in 2016. I see something similar happening here now. And so that's it. Red Eagle wins. And he becomes president, and Josh Hawley becomes vice president. I think this would be a surprising result. This would be the type of election where everybody making predictions would predict LT, Let's Talk Elections, to win here, but he doesn't. These, I think, are the exact same states that President Trump carried in 2016, with the exception of Arizona. 295 electoral votes for Red Eagle, 243 for Let's Talk Elections, and I'm preparing for that comment war zone.